Welcome back to A Moment in History. I'm Seth Udinsky. Well, the historian has to be ready to deal with controversial figures, and that comes with the territory, as perceptions of heroes and villains may change over the years and centuries. This is true with countless figures in history, many of whom we've studied, but perhaps none more than the famous or infamous Italian explorer from the 15th century who is credited with discovering the American landmass in the Western Hemisphere. Some call him a trailblazing hero and a crusader, while others decry him as a notorious genocidal scoundrel. Let's attempt to make sense of one of the most influential and controversial men in history, Christopher Columbus. Now, Columbus was born in 1451, the son of an Italian merchant with somewhat high status in the dying medieval feudal system of Europe. Columbus is seen by many as the historical hinge between the medieval age and the early modern world. He became a shipman early in life, and after settling in Spain as a young man, he was caught up in the contemporary popularity of the day to try to find a westward path to East Asia. Now, for Europeans, that would mean unrestricted access to the goods of Asia, where, remember, in the 15th century, the only known way to Asia at this time was either the painfully long voyage around the southern tip of Africa or through the treacherous deserts of the Middle East, which at the time were dominated by the Muslim Ottoman Empire. For the devout Catholic Columbus, that idea was less than agreeable. So he began to work through a plan with his navigational background to set sail westward and reach the East Asian coast via the Atlantic Ocean. He got little support from the European nobility until his plan reached the ears of the Spanish King Ferdinand and his Queen Isabella, who in 1492 had just completed the 700-year Christian reconquest of Spain from the Muslim Moors. With a combined fervor of religious zeal as well as a desire for riches and glory, the king and queen agreed to support an expedition westward with Columbus at the head. He was given 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, as well as an expeditionary force of Spanish knights. On August 3rd in 1492, Columbus set sail on the ocean blue. While he first thought he'd landed in the East Indies in October in that area, he actually landed in the Caribbean islands of Central America, where he encountered a land never before discovered by Europeans. Columbus established the European settlement of Hispaniola, and he was a trailblazing pioneer who is credited as the first European to discover the New World. That's with all due respect to the Viking Leif Erikson, who made it to Newfoundland in the 11th century. Yet Columbus is a marked figure, with many arguing he was a genocidal warlord who enslaved countless indigenous people. They say he was nothing but a villain who should be remembered as such. Now, how should we remember Columbus? Well, the truth is, like so many conquistadors and explorers of the age of discovery, he was a little bit of both. He was a devoutly religious man, a courageous leader, and most likely a glory and gold-hungry captain who was willing to compromise his character at times to achieve these things. Columbus himself summarized the daring nature of his quests with a quote where he said this: "Let those who are fond of blaming and finding fault, while they sit safely at home, ask, 'Why did you not do thus and so? I wish they were on this voyage.'" He would make several trips to and from the New World before his death in Spain in 1506. Thanks so much for joining me once again for A Moment in History.